The Wednesday, September 4th, 2024 meeting of the Gardner City Council Finance Committee will come to order. The clerk will please call the roll.
Councilor Darlowitz.
Present.
Councilor Mack.
Present.
President Kaczynskis.
Present. Is anyone here recording tonight's meeting? Okay. The first item on the agenda is item 11383, in order authorizing $5,025.36 payment of prior year expenditure. Mayor Nicholson?
Thank you very much, Madam President. This is a bill from the Massachusetts Department of Corrections that the city received. The city, or really any governmental agency and nonprofit in Massachusetts by law is able to order items of furniture or office supplies from the Massachusetts Department of Corrections. Basically what it is part of the reintegration programs that they have for the inmates of the different state prison facilities across the Commonwealth. The inmates can make furniture, upholstery, different things like that as part of their work skills program. That way when they get released, they have work skills so they can get a job and get back into reintegrating into society after being incarcerated. This bill that you have here is for 3 of the metal picnic tables that you see in front of the library, and then a couple of the desks that we have in City Hall that we've replaced in a couple of our departments. The bill came in on June 29th, and then we closed out the fiscal year before we were able to pay that bill. And by the general laws, the council has to approve any time that we pay a previous fiscal year's bill with a current fiscal year's funding. So since the money that we have available to us now is FY25 money, but the bill was received in the last couple days of FY24, we need council approval in order to pay the bill to the Department of Corrections.
Thank you. And so it was received, my only question is it was received on the 29th, so I mean just it's September, like it made it to the council in September. Normally things would go much quicker, I would assume.
Normally they would go quicker. Sometimes we can work with the vendors and they'll either redate an invoice so we can pay it on a different schedule, or we make sure everything's arrived before we pay it, and a couple of the items hadn't arrived yet by the time that the final invoice was received. So that's again one of the things we just out of practice don't submit payment until we get everything and make sure it's up to the standard it should be at. So those were the 2 reasons for that delay that's there. But even still with that, between when a bill is received to when a check is cut, it's normally around about a 2-week turnaround time period for all the processes to go through in the auditing department and the procedures laid out by our auditing firms. So it's, even if it got to the council for the August meeting, it's one of those that's just, we weren't at the stage yet where it was ready to be submitted because we were still waiting for the picnic tables.
Thank you. Any questions, comments from the committee further?
No, nothing.
Okay. Understand the motion?
Make a motion to recommend passage of the order to full council. Full council.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Darlowitz, seconded by Councilor Mack to recommend passage to the full council. Is there discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The motion passes. Item 11384, a measure transferring $4,000 from city clerk salaries and wages to city clerk professional services operating expenditures. Mayor Nicholson.
Thank you very much, Madam President. This is something that we've done before whenever we've had employees either leave or be on different absences due to different reasons, when we have a consulting contract come in, where the city clerk is currently on a medical leave, and we've had a resignation with the former assistant city clerk. Former city clerk Alan McNelly has come back as an elections consultant. That is paid for in a different line item than this. This is because former assistant city clerk John Oliveri has come back as a consultant for the city clerk's department to help train the new staff members that we have there, as we have our new assistant city clerk and our new 2 new staff members in the city clerk's office. So with 3 new, relatively new employees, at least new in their position employees, and then the elections and everything else coming up, we just want to make sure that those processes are, 1, covered, but also trained correctly, and the elections done the correct way. So this is transferring out of the salary line items that aren't going to be used this fiscal year because of the vacancies that were created in those positions, and transferring those into an expense line item because a consultant's contract by law is considered an expense and not a salary payment, and we can't cross fundings over without a council approval on those matters.
Thank you. Questions, comments from the committee?
So to be clear, which roles is this paying for?
This is paying for the former assistant clerk, John Oliveri,
That's what I
so he can
thought.
come back and train the staff.
Okay, and you said the money for the former city clerk, Alan Agnelli, is from a different source?
Yeah, it's from the elections account.
Okay, thank you.
For any state elections, we actually get partial reimbursement for the funding that we put out, so that's why that's in a separate account.
Thank you. I have really appreciated all of the communication that I've had with HR and, within the clerk's department about this. It's just kind of one of those things we have to be sure everything is covered. And so, as I understand it, for Alan Agnelli, his contract was covered basically, yes. But then the elections piece of it had come into it. So I don't have any questions regarding that. I just wanted to be sure that was for John, but it is covering John Oliveri.
Yeah.
Just one more question. Going forward, how long are they staying on, and is there enough money to cover them for those time periods?
From what our projections are, yes. We expect probably for John, I'm guessing probably mid-October when the city clerk comes back. Mm-hmm. And for Alan, I'm going to guess through the November election just to make sure all our I's are dotted and T's are crossed. Because while we anticipate the city clerk to come back sometime in mid-October for maternity leave, early voting starts second week of October per the Votes Act, and mail-in ballots go out last week of September. So there's a lot that builds up to that election day that'll happen actually before the city clerk gets back. So I wouldn't doubt if Alan just stays on through that November 5th election to just get us through where we need to be.
And the funding is there for that, or are we coming back for more for Alan?
We, from our projections right now, it's there for that.
It is there, okay.
He's, just to add to that, he's, my understanding is I had asked the same question of, basically I've been apprised of all of this because the council oversees the city clerk's office, and so I've been kind of part of those conversations and questions, and so it's my understanding that basically they provide their hours or what they have worked so far, and that's where these projections are coming from. It's been provided to them saying, okay, expect to work this much, and also it's matched the needs of what the department has said they're going to need for the election. So it's not, one dictating the other. It's a conversation about, okay, this is our needs, and this is what we can work to fulfill it, and that's what's happened so far. So if it does go past that, then there'll need to be justification for that, and they'll have to come back and ask for more, but it should fill it. It's from what they understand. That was my questions have been answered in that capacity.
Thank you.
And it's one of those things as in between elections, right? We just had the primary, so former Clerk Agnelli was working full-time hours to get us ready for that. Now that that primary is done, it's probably not going to be in every day or all day every day, or not nearly as many hours. But then when the election gets closer, then it's probably going to be something that picks back up again. So it's something that will ebb and flow. So based on our projections, that's why I say that is where we think the time will be needed when we get there. That's the financial projections, and that's all coming from the city's auditor.
Perfect, thank you.
Other questions, comments?
Make a motion to recommend the transfer of the funds to the full council.
Second. Motion made by Councilor General, seconded by Councilor Knapp to recommend authorization of the transfer to the full council. Is there discussion on the motion?
I just want to throw out just a thanks to the council for John Richard, because that auditing department falls under the council too, and he's the one who comes up with all these projections and all the other stuff that goes with it. And it's one of those that you kind of throw a dart at the board and hope it sticks, but he's been great with all of this process and just getting us through what we need to get through. So just thank you for that department too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can say that John has also made sure that I was in the loop on a lot of those things too, and it's his job, and he really did a great job at it, because of course there's been some things in the clerk's office we haven't expected in the last couple of months, and it's really been seamless and smooth. So I can definitely second that. He knows his stuff. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion passes. Item 11289, an ordinance to amend the code of the City of Gardner, Part 1 thereof, entitled Administrative Legislation. This has been with us for some time. There's been different documentation added. We had requested more time, and I didn't know what we wanted to do moving forward. Councilor General, it seems like you've done some work on this.
With the extensive edits that have been done, I would be asking for some more time. Hopefully we'll act on it at our next finance committee meeting.
Okay. I agree. Okay.
If I could just throw into just another piece of feedback I've received on the latest round of it, is I've gotten good feedback on the format changes that we've done, where we've taken a lot of the redundancies out of some of the lower sections and just put them onto their own section at the top. And one of the feedbacks I've gotten from a couple of the chairs of the different boards and committees that we have is also they also don't have a uniform reorganization pattern. Some of the ordinances say that the board of commissioners shall have to reorganize a vote at the beginning of every year for who's chair, who's vice chair, so on from there. Others just say in the first year they shall have a meeting but doesn't specify what happens after that. There's some that just continue in that position unless they decide to change it. There's others that, some are set by state law and we'll have to put unless barring state law, but I likely be, we're suggesting, I guess when we review that, just another section in that top item that we added the last time that just says, unless state law says otherwise, committees shall reorganize in January of each year, just like we do with the other stuff that's there. Just to keep it consistent across everyone too. And that's the goal of the whole thing.
I think it's great. I think it's going to be super helpful.
Yeah.
This is how things should be done, and then it answers all of these questions and kind of keeps it, where people can easily figure out what they need to do. And it's important because this is these are administrative matters of the city, so you need to have them be very clear. Any other discussion or comments?
I think the uniformity, I guess, of it is going to be great. And hopefully the next few meetings we're able to act upon it.
Okay, so we'll recommend more time? Okay. Item 11382, motion to amend item number 11256, a resolution to rename the City Council Chamber the Ronald F. Cormier Council Chamber as adopted by the City Council on June 17, 2024. So this was submitted by Councilor Tyros, back now it's kind of a different item. Councilor Mack, did you have anything?
Yes, so this comes back to my original resolution, which was passed by the council to rename the council chambers in memory of former Councilor Ronald Cormier. So my motion would be, or suggestion would be to the full council would be to form an ad hoc committee that would be formed of 4 individuals to recommend to the finance committee to then present to the full council options for a physical display to dedicate the council chambers in honor of Councilor Cormier and to ensure that the dedication in his memory is appropriate and the process is appropriately followed. Right. So that's what I think should be done. I do have in mind, and I think 4 members that would be adequate for this committee. Former Councilor President Neil Jansen, former Councilor and Council President and close friend James Balch, Mrs. Marcel Cormier, and former City Clerk, former Mayor, and somebody who knows the charter and the history of Gardner, Alan McNally.
Right.
Second?
Yeah.
That was a good motion.
Well, I think so. I think we could. So I agree. I have no objection to any of those suggestions. I think doing it in a committee makes total sense because we've already kind of decided what's happening, and now to move forward and to have people from the community weigh in or relevant to the situation, I think makes a lot of sense too. But we can take more time on it too.
And Madam President, as he's here, would you mind if I ask Councilor Tyros, is it is this resolution?
I mean, we can do that during a committee meeting, so sure.
Okay, because this is actually for the finance committee, because to form this committee needs to go back to the council.
So we're going to recommend to the council what we want to do moving forward. So, we can make that recommendation, and then that can, at the council to kind of vote to do that would become the form of a motion.
I just don't want to step on his, this was his resolution. I just want to make sure that he would be in agreement with this.
Yeah, we can certainly do that. Councilor Tyros, would you like to come forward, please?
Madam President?
Yes.
Ooh, this side of the table.
I know, we're not sure what these chairs are.
Great.
doing, but it's okay.
So I think I heard correctly.
Yeah, sorry, Councilor Tyros, I didn't mean to put you on the spot there, but I just want to give you, fair input on this.
Yeah, and I'm happy to see this is exactly what I intended when I put forward this resolution. And from what I heard when I walked in, it sounds totally in line what I was hoping for. So thank you.
You're welcome.
That's all.
Okay, thank you. So, do we want to make a motion to recommend, or?
I'll make a motion to, that we make motions to the full council to form an ad hoc committee to review the appropriate dedication of the council chambers in honor of former Councilor Ronald Cormier.
Second?
I just, so motion made by Councilor Mack, to form an ad hoc committee, to review, the dedication of the chamber in Councilor Cormier's name, seconded by Councilor Donalowitz. Any discussion? I have discussion. So I would say though, to name the committee, should we make that part of the motion? In order to name the committee members, like who's gonna do that?
I think they should be asked first before we name them.
Yeah.
Those are the people that I feel should be asked.
Okay.
But I wouldn't name them until they have a chance to be asked first.
Okay, so just for, in terms
Just
of
for
this meeting?
information only
Yeah, yes,
purposes.
for this
Those-
meeting,
yeah.
for the discussion.
Just
I
for the
would say-
discussion, those who I think would be appropriate.
Okay.
But for the full council, all I need to know is, I think, before individuals.
Yeah, yeah. I have no further discussion. Any further discussion?
No, you guys covered it?
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion passes. Anything further this evening?
Move to adjourn?
Second?
Motion made by Councilor Donlin, seconded by Councilor Mack to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion passes. Meeting stands adjourned.